Find your chart now that says Chart of Effects of Spinal Misalignment. See your spine there on the left-hand side, and then on the right next to that column that says the vertebrae. That's the name of the vertebrae that each one of those go to. Your cervical, your thoracic, your lumbar, and your tailbone. Then the next column is the areas. That's the area of your body that the nerves go to from that particular vertebrae. The head, the eyes, the cheeks, the nose, vocal cords, the heart, the lungs, the gallbladder, etc., etc. And then the last column is the effects. And that's the effects that you get if that vertebrae is turned out of place and pinching those nerves that come from each side. Depression, strokes, stiff neck, asthma, heart problems, lung problems, gallbladder problems, etc., etc. So, see where I've circled in the red? That's where you're out of place in that spine. A lot of that in the, in that neck area. And I think you're out right at the very, very top where that atlas and axis, the C1 and C2, they sit up underneath the skull. And they interrupt the blood flow up into your head. The blood and the oxygen flow up into your head when they're out. Then you get down there to the base of your neck, and you got a good case of interneck. I used to read palms in the 1995, 96, 97. And the necks were out of place. But boy, since the advent of the computer, people from all over the world, their necks are just a mess. I call it the interneck because they're out of leaning over those computers for 2 or 3 hours a day, if not more. Just throws that neck out of place. Going along that headline, you see it tips down at the end. That's making a depression line because you're out at the very, very top. See if you follow your finger over there to where the effects are. It says depression. Also on that 6C, that's just before the base of your neck. That causes depression when that's out there. So underneath that Jupiter finger, that's going to show your cervical vertebrae, starting in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger. And go along that line. That's going to show where you're at. It'll show us these little island marks. So that's all out, all along that whole cervical area, that 1 through 7. That's out of place. I think you're using the computer quite a bit. It looks like to me. Or you've been jammed, or you've got hurt in your spine somewhere. Easy to have an accident, bicycle accidents, car accidents, jumping on trampolines, or doing contact sports. If you did any sports like in your secondary schools or even in your elementary schools, can cause that spine to get messed up. Let me tell you that in a minute. Let me finish telling you. You're out into that in that cervical area, and a little bit out in that thoracic area, which the thoracic vertebrae are underneath the Saturn finger, 1 through 12, and the lumbar are out under that Sun finger, 1 through 5, and the tailbone is under that Mercury finger. So you're out at the top of the spine, then it throws you out in the lower spine the opposite way to compensate.